A month before my wedding, everything started falling apart, but not because of me. The venue, the florist, the DJ all mysteriously canceled. My sister hated my fiancée, but I never thought she'd sabotage the entire thing behind my back. Instead of confronting her, I outplayed her. I got married anyway without her knowing and made damn sure she'd find out in the most brutal way possible. Hey Reddit, call me Jake. I'm 32 from a small town where everyone knows everyone's middle name, license plate, and business. I was set to marry the love of my life, Rachel, a woman my sister Amber openly despised. She always said Rachel was too cold, too perfect, or too good for me, which, let's be real, is code for I hate that you're happy. I ignored her. I figured she'd come around eventually. Big mistake. Amber didn't just disapprove, she actively sabotaged my wedding. What she didn't expect was how calmly, coldly, and completely I'd turn the tables on her. It all started with the caterer. Rachel called me on a random Tuesday, sounding confused and slightly panicked. Hey, she asked, did you cancel with Garden Grove Catering? I blinked. What? No. Why? They just emailed saying the wedding's off. I pulled up my inbox. No emails. No cancellation. I called them immediately. Some kid answered and put me on hold. Then a manager picked up and casually said, we already spoke with Jake. He canceled. The refund was processed 2 days ago. I'm Jake, I said as flatly as possible. And I didn't cancel anything. There was an awkward pause on the line. They said they could try to fix things, maybe squeeze us back in, but our original date had already been rebooked. I hung up and tried the venue next. Same story. Sorry you canceled last week. We booked someone else. First the caterer, then the venue. It wasn't a coincidence. Something was seriously wrong. I thought maybe there had been a tech issue or some kind of spam-related nonsense. I called Rachel back. She was already on the phone with Denise, our florist. Denise had canceled too. Refund processed. Everything had been officially called off by me. By the end of the day, we'd lost the florist, the DJ, the photographer, and the venue. All canceled under my name. But I never touched a thing. At first, I was more confused than angry. I thought maybe someone hacked my email or there was a weird bug. Then I remembered something that made my stomach twist. A few months ago, at dinner, my sister Amber joked about how Rachel must have hypnotized me into proposing. It wasn't funny then, and it's definitely not funny now. Still, I didn't want to go full conspiracy mode. I needed proof. So, I called each vendor again, hoping to get some kind of paper trail or receipts. Most of them dodged. They said someone had called or sent an email or even just confirmed the cancellation. Nobody had anything solid. Except one. Denise, the florist. At first, she sounded just as cautious as the others. She told me I had called off the wedding and that I asked her to keep it quiet because I was embarrassed. Denise, I said, trying not to let my frustration show, I'm telling you, I didn't cancel. Someone else did, pretending to be me. I don't want to sue anyone. I just want to know who it was. She went quiet. Then she said something I didn't expect. There was a forwarded message, she said. It had your name on it, but it came from a different account. Not the one we originally used. It looked a little off. I asked her if she could send it over. She did. And there it was, a message with my name, my signature style, but not my voice. It was a copy of our original agreement, sent as if it were from me with a short note saying, thanks for everything, but the wedding's canceled due to family issues. Please issue the refund. The tone was weird. Formal. A little fake. But here's where it all blew up. Whoever sent the message made a mistake. They accidentally included a second email address in the message, probably without thinking. That second address? It had Amber's full name in it. That was the moment I stopped wondering. I knew. I didn't say anything to Rachel right away. I didn't want to give Amber the satisfaction of knowing we'd caught on. And more importantly, I didn't want to fix the original wedding. I wanted to outmaneuver it. I wanted to erase every trace of the old plan and replace it with something better without Amber ever knowing. So I got to work. I told Rachel to trust me and give me 1 week to sort everything. She was stressed, sure, but she trusted me. Meanwhile, our parents thought the whole thing was imploding. I let them think that. I didn't explain anything. Behind the scenes, I rebooked everything, new venue, new vendors, all under a different name. I used my best friend Brandon as the contact on everything. We paid in full. We used burner contacts. We kept everything quiet. And just to add a cherry on top, the wedding date stayed exactly the same. While I was setting all this up, Amber posted on social media about her upcoming solo trip to Cancun. A little vacation to reset and realign. Perfect timing. Perfect alibi. Perfect cover for being left out. Our photographer, a badass who used to shoot surprise elopements in the mountains, asked me what vibe we were going for. Gorgeous, I said. But make sure you leave one chair noticeably empty. She smiled. Petty with a flourish. I like it. By the end of the week, everything was locked in. The wedding wasn't postponed. It was replaced. No one canceled it. We just deleted the toxic part of it and hit refresh. Once I had that email with Amber's address buried in the message thread, the question wasn't if she did it. It was why she thought she'd get away with it. The florist's forwarded message wasn't just a smoking gun, it was the entire loaded weapon with her fingerprints all over it. And it made me wonder how long she'd been planning the sabotage. Because this wasn't spur-of-the-moment petty. This was months in advance sabotage. I dug through everything she'd ever touched for the wedding. Turns out Amber was the family liaison for most vendors. That was my mom's suggestion originally. She's so organized, she'll help you both stay on top of things. Organized, my ass. She was patient, manipulative, and a goddamn saboteur. She volunteered to coordinate so she could control the kill switch. When I showed the email to Rachel, she didn't even cry. She just sat there with this cold, blank stare and said, well, I guess that solves the mystery. I was more pissed off than I thought I'd be. Because this wasn't just an attack on me, it was aimed at Rachel too. Amber didn't just dislike her. She genuinely wanted her gone. And this wedding was her way to do it. Quietly. From the inside. We debated confronting her. Just saying it outright. But what would that do? She'd lie. She'd gaslight. She'd fake a tear or two and blame stress. Then she'd twist it into us being dramatic. Amber always knew how to turn a room. She was toxic with a diploma in manipulation. So we decided to shut up and plan harder. Brandon helped me reserve a new venue, an art gallery just outside of town with a rooftop garden. It wasn't huge, but it was intimate and beautiful, and the owner was an old friend of his. The guy agreed to keep things quiet, no social posts until we said so. I paid in cash and under Brandon's name. Every vendor we rebooked had no idea we were rebooking. To them, we were just another quirky couple with weird contact requests and full upfront payments. They didn't care as long as the check cleared. Now here's where it gets fun. I decided to let Amber think she won. In fact, I encouraged it. I told my parents the wedding was postponed indefinitely due to some complications. I didn't go into details. They bought it. Amber acted fake sympathetic, but you could see the little smirk behind her eyes. She kept saying, well, maybe it's for the best. As if she weren't the reason everything imploded in the first place. Rachel's parents were in on the plan. They helped organize invites through snail mail, no EVs, no wedding website, nothing Amber could stumble across. Everything was old school and under wraps. Meanwhile, Amber packed for her trip to Cancun, posting daily countdowns on her socials. Her plan had worked as far as she knew. She even joked to Brandon that maybe she'd meet someone better for me down there. That was the last straw for him. He stopped pretending to like her after that. The florist, Denise, turned out to be the biggest accidental hero in this mess. Not only did she blow the lid off Amber's plan, but she also agreed to redo our wedding flowers and threw in extra arrangements as a screw you gift. Her words. With everything lined up, I planned the next detail like it was a military op. The night before the ceremony, I posted a single photo of Rachel and me holding hands at a quiet dinner with the caption, "Tomorrow's going to be perfect." No tags, no location, just vague enough to seem like an anniversary or something minor. Then we got married. It was the most peaceful, private, joy-filled thing I've ever experienced. Everyone who mattered was there. My parents figured it out last minute and showed up. Brandon gave a speech that made everyone laugh and cry. Rachel looked like something out of a dream. And in that rooftop garden with the sun setting behind us, I felt calm. Like the storm was behind us. And it was. Because Amber wasn't there. And no one missed her. The gallery had great lighting, so our photographer took advantage. He got shots of everything, the dress, the guests, the setup. But more importantly, he captured one wide shot of the entire group, smiling, laughing, dancing with a very obvious empty seat marked family. That shot was gold. We scheduled the photos to go live the next morning. The same morning, Amber touched down in Cancun and opened her phone by the pool. When Amber's plane took off, I imagined her smirking, sipping her overpriced airport coffee, probably thinking she'd saved me from a doomed marriage. She'd pat herself on the back, convinced she'd done her brother a favor. Meanwhile, back home, I was buttoning my suit jacket and helping Rachel adjust her veil in front of a full-length mirror. The contrast couldn't have been sweeter. The morning of the wedding was calm, suspiciously calm. Brandon arrived first, carrying a cooler full of mini champagne bottles like he was smuggling gold. He was way too proud of that. Our tiny wedding party trickled in slowly, a mix of close friends, cousins, Rachel's college roommates, and a couple of people we hadn't seen in years but knew we could trust. Rachel's parents handled everything like pros. Her mom basically became our wedding coordinator overnight, and her dad walked around the venue shaking hands like a politician. You could tell they were trying to make up for the chaos Amber caused. Honestly, they didn't need to. Just being present made a difference. I didn't feel nervous until the music started. Not because of the commitment, I was sure of Rachel. It was the weight of everything we'd been through leading up to this. The sabotage, the lies, the quiet planning behind everyone's backs. It all hit me at once. But then Rachel walked in and it didn't matter. We wrote our own vows. Hers were perfect. Mine were mostly me trying not to cry and failing. We kissed, people clapped, and somewhere in the sky, Amber was probably ordering a watered-down cocktail, completely unaware that her plan had backfired in the most poetic way possible. We didn't do a huge reception. Just drinks, speeches, music from a Bluetooth speaker, and way too much cake. But it was real. It was ours. No drama. No forced smiles. Just the people who genuinely wanted to be there, all of them having the time of their lives. At some point, I pulled Brandon aside and asked him to make sure all the photos got posted right on schedule the next morning. I didn't want to touch my phone. I wanted one day, just one, to exist without social media, texts, or the bullshit Amber had wrapped around our lives. He grinned and said, I already scheduled the posts. She'll open her phone and feel like she missed the damn Super Bowl. We laughed, clinked bottles, and got back to celebrating. That night, Rachel and I stayed at a cozy little cabin by the lake. No hotel, no five-star suite, just peace. Felt earned. We stayed up late talking about everything, even the dumb stuff, like how I almost went with a red tie, or how the caterer brought twice as many mini quiches as we ordered. The tension we'd carried for months evaporated, and all that was left was quiet joy. The next morning, while we were still in bed, Brandon texted me a single line. She saw it. Apparently, she'd landed, checked her feed, and found her phone flooded with wedding photos. Not just one or two, the entire album. Ceremony, vows, the cake, Rachel dancing with her dad, me laughing with Brandon, the wide shot with that painfully obvious empty seat. All of it. She didn't comment, didn't text, just went silent. But her silence said everything. Later that afternoon, I got a ping from my mom. It was a simple message. Call me when you can. Amber's not doing well. I ignored it, not because I was trying to be cruel, but because, for once, I wasn't going to let her drama ruin my day. Let her stew. Let her scroll. Let her try to spin this however she wanted. She'd made her move. I just checkmated her. I wasn't even home yet when Amber finally exploded. We were still out at the cabin. Rachel was reading a book by the window, and I was making terrible coffee because I forgot to pack the good beans. My phone started buzzing like it was possessed. Not just texts. Full-on calls, back-to-back, all from my mom. I let the first few go. Then the text started. You need to talk to your sister. Amber is having a meltdown. Call her, please. By the time I opened Instagram, Amber had already posted a black screen to her story with the text. Nice to find out your brother's married through F*******ing Instagram. Classic. No tag. Just passive-aggressive enough to let everyone know she was pissed without saying my name. Then she started texting me directly. Long, bitter messages. How could you do this without me? You embarrassed me. You let her win. I didn't respond, because honestly, I didn't owe her a response. She didn't just forget to RSVP or make a small mistake. She actively sabotaged our wedding. She lied. She went behind my back, ruined months of planning, and expected an apology because she didn't get to play maid of honor in the end? Nope. Rachel, being the saint she is, told me not to engage. Let her spiral. She wants you to react. But I was pissed. Not because of the texts. Because even after everything, Amber still made herself the victim. She didn't mention how she impersonated me. Didn't bring up the vendors she called pretending to be the groom. Didn't admit she tried to cancel the most important day of my life out of spite. All she saw was a photo of us happy, and that enraged her. She eventually called Rachel. That didn't go well. I don't know what exactly was said. Rachel just walked back inside, handed me the phone and said, "You deal with your sister. I'm going for a walk." That was the first time I'd seen her actually angry about all this. She'd been patient, calm, even generous through it all. But Amber's gall pushed her too far. So I answered the phone. Amber started ranting immediately. No hello, no breath, just a 5-minute monologue about how I ruined the family, how she was humiliated, how she deserved to be there. I listened, not out of respect, just to see how far she'd go. And wow, she went far. Claimed she was trying to save me, that Rachel manipulated me, and that the wedding was a disaster because she wasn't involved. When she finally paused, I said, "You canceled my vendors behind my back. You pretended to be me. And now you're mad that you weren't invited to the wedding you tried to destroy." Silence. Then, "You're overreacting." That's when I hung up. I didn't shout, didn't curse, just ended the call. And then I blocked her. Phone, social media, everything. I said what needed to be said. She chose war, and I was done fighting battles she started. A few days later, I found out she tried spinning the whole thing to the extended family, telling them she graciously stepped aside when she saw how much stress we were under. Claimed she gave us space to heal. Total bullshit. But people who mattered, they knew the truth. Brandon told a few people. My cousin shared screenshots of the text messages. The florist even showed my mom the email Amber had sent, pretending to be me. Her web of lies unraveled fast. The best part? She had to show up at a family barbecue 2 weeks later where everyone had seen the wedding photos, and none of them had seen her. She came late, stayed quiet, and left early. She didn't even bring her usual bottle of wine or fake smile. Nobody said a word to her face. But the looks? I heard they said everything. Meanwhile, Rachel and I, we were thriving. Quiet, low-drama married life. No more planning. No more crisis management. Just simple days filled with way too much takeout and arguing over movie choices. Amber's tantrum became background noise. She threw her fit, but nobody bit. She tried to be the center of attention, and for once, she wasn't. And you know what? That probably stung more than any speech I could have given. She didn't just lose control. She lost the spotlight. It's been 6 months since the wedding. Rachel and I are good, like genuinely good. We wake up without a crisis to fix. No endless guest list edits. No vendors ghosting us. No twisted schemes behind our backs. Just peace, laughter, lazy Sundays and burnt pancakes and zero drama. It's the life we wanted. The life we chose. Amber? She's still blocked, but more importantly, she's not relevant. I don't think about her daily. I don't even feel angry anymore. The opposite, actually. I feel nothing. Her opinions don't land. Her posts don't matter. Her presence doesn't hold weight. The family's moved on too. Some still talk to her, sure, but not about us. Her stories don't get shared around the table anymore. There's no more space for her victim complex in our group chats. People always ask if I regret not telling her we were getting married. If I feel guilty. And every time, I give the same answer. She made herself a stranger the moment she tried to sabotage my life. I didn't block her to hurt her. I blocked her to protect my peace. And honestly, best damn wedding gift I could have given myself.